All right. The EP marathon for October continues, and this one is Bone Thugs-n-Harmony, Creepin on a Come Up. Been doing a little bit of reading here this morning because I don't know anything about the group. The name, I remember the one track, Crossroads. See you at the crossroads. I remember that one. That one was fucking huge. Huge. God, that song. It's all over the radio. That was back when I was in high school. And I never, listened to them beyond that. That was the only track I think I ever heard from them. And so I always just assumed they were like this R&B group. I didn't realize they were more of like a rap group. So I was always surprised a little bit during this channel when people were recommending Bone Thugs-n-Harmony. Oh man, you gotta do Bone Thugs-n-Harmony. I'm like, really? Turns out that track is not necessarily their sound style. I mean, I don't know what they sound like, so I shouldn't say too much, but it did throw me off. I was just reading here that this is on Genius. This is just a little summary about the group and how they formed and all this other stuff. But rapper Eazy-E signed the group to Ruthless Records in 1994 for their debut album Creepin on a Come Up. 94, Eazy-E, man, that's a throwback. And they said, on Spotify here, Thuggish Ruggish Bone has almost 95 million listens. For the Love of Money has almost 50 million listens. I wonder if I've heard Thuggish Ruggish Bone. That's possible. The title does not ring any bells. But 94, when I was in high school, I was stuck on the bus all the time. So I was forced to listen to a radio station I didn't want to listen to. That's the reason why I don't like TLC's Waterfalls. Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls. Not that it's a bad song, but it's almost like a trigger. Because I swear to God, every day on the way to school, on the way home from school, I heard that song. Every day, and it just drove me nuts. Because like, can we please hear anything else? Nope. Radio stations, we just got to play the same songs over and over again. Anyway, I did clipping yesterday. I'm really enjoying clipping so far. I was doing another listen this morning, which I shouldn't have done because that production is going to be totally different. So there's going to be a shift in sound. This is a shorter album. It's not even 30 minutes. It barely comes in at 30 minutes. If you pull out the intro, it's under 30 minutes. So it might take me a little bit to settle into the sound. I did see on Wikipedia that apparently this group is the only group to work with Tupac, with Biggie, and then two other guys. Fuck, I forget the names already. Who while they were alive. Apparently, no other group has worked with all those guys. Eazy-E. It was Eazy-E, Tupac, Biggie, Eazy-E, and somebody else who had died. But anyway, okay. So let's drop in. I'm pretty interested. Short little album. First track is called Intro. Creepin on a Come Up featuring Eazy-E, produced by DJ Yella and Eazy-E. Oh, cool. Eazy-E's doing the production too. I want to do NWA. I want to do Straight Outta Compton. I know a couple tracks off that record, but I don't know all of it, obviously. I do want to get to that one of these days. I've got a list of very highly regarded, like early 90s, late 80s albums that I'm looking at. I'm trying to adhere to. Straight Outta Compton is not on that one from some of my sources, but I personally want to do Straight Outta Compton, so I'm probably going to weave that in there somewhere. Anyway, let's drop in. This is first time listening to Bone Thugs-n-Harmony. The only track I know from them is The Crossroads, so this will be interesting to see if I recognize anything here. Track 1 is called Intro. Real quick, I'm just going to let it roll into track 2, which is called Mr. Is it Ouija? What's weird is it's spelled differently here. On Spotify, it's spelled with a Q, not an O. How the fuck does that happen? I don't know what the deal is with Genius, but I've noticed typos and shit. But this is pretty egregious if this is an O and Spotify has a Q. Anyway, I'll let it roll through track 1, which is intro, into track 2, whatever track 2 is. And then I'll stop it before track 3, which is Thuggish Ruggish Bone. So here we go. Track 1, intro.
Straight off the motherfucking streets of Cleveland. 5 true thugs
oh, wow.
on the double Glock.
Very dark sound,
Busy.
which is cool.
Wish. Crazy.
The vocals, man. You know, I know that there's 5 members, but I was thinking like Wu-Tang, you know, dropping in one at a time. No, the harmony. And of course, that's their fucking name, right?
My thugs. And play with the Ouija board.
Yeah, Ouija board. Okay. So here's Mr. Ouija.
Ouija, are you with me? Ouija, are you
Wow.
with me? Ouija, are you with me? Ouija, are you with me? Dear Mr. Ouija, I want to know my future. Well, I got a murder.
Wow.
More murder, murder, more murder, more murder, murder, more murder, more murder, murder, more 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 murder.
Wow. I'm just going to pause it there. There's only a couple seconds left. You know, intro, no production, right? There's really nothing going on. There's no beat. There's nothing. It's been so long since I've focused on a group that had harmony like this. And I forgot how much space harmony fills in terms of sound. One of my favorite rock bands is Alice in Chains. And the reason why I love Alice in Chains so much is because Lane Staley and Jerry Cantrell, man, they harmonize, and it's just fucking phenomenal. I love it. I mean, they've got great music, and it's heavy and it's dark sometimes. Sometimes it's light, sometimes it's mellow. But those two guys, their voices, the way they overlay with each other, it's just fucking fantastic. In this, man, this is amazing. I mean, I'm legit kind of blown away, and I feel like I shouldn't be, because I remember, even though back in the 90s when the Crossroads was all over the radio and I was sick of hearing it, I always kind of enjoyed it. Like, it didn't bother me when it came on. You know, like Waterfalls, I was so sick of hearing that song. Please, never, ever play that. But when Crossroads came on, I was like, even though it wasn't necessarily my thing, I could always appreciate the singing. Like, the singing was really good. And I was cool with the message too, you know, like there's something about that song. I was like, all right, yeah, it never upset me if it came on. This would be cool. Okay. Let's roll into track 3. There's our little intro segments there. This is kind of where the EP starts. It's basically a 6-track EP. So the next track is called Thuggish Ruggish Bone. There's the big one. Featuring Shatasha Williams, produced by Kenny McLeod and DJ Unique. And let's jump in. I'm curious to see if I've heard this. This is familiar or not.
We're not against rap. We're not against rappers. But we are against those thugs.
It's the Thuggish Ruggish Bone. It's the Thuggish Ruggish Bone.
Oh, there's that sound.
It's the Thuggish Ruggish Bone. It's the Thuggish Ruggish Bone.
You're feeling the strength of the rum, step bump, hit a funk, get a jump, get the dust, just feel, just be thugging, straight buzzing, loving your peoples, cause we so real, chill, better bring your weapon, when stepping, bring on that ammunition, tripping, no sip, not to mention, never knew no competition, but I gotta get mine, so scream my Moe and let me hear ya holler, not about that mighty dollar, roll with the bum of thugger, follow, chain game remaining the same, flaming my dank and drinking brews, thinking about that hanging, clapping my back and thugging with
Thuggish Ruggish
truth.
Bone.
This is not familiar to
It's
me.
the Thuggish Ruggish Bone.
I don't think I've ever heard this one before.
It's the Thuggish Ruggish Bone.
I don't really have a lot to say right now in terms of the lyrics. You know, they're just kind of doing what they're doing. Nothing's jumping out at me. But I'm listening to the production, and I'm thinking about just this debut EP. I'm trying to place myself in the 90s again. You know, thinking about Tupac, thinking about Dr. Dre, thinking about NWA. You know, just although NWA was a lot earlier. Straight Outta Compton was like late 80s, I believe, early 90s, like 90, or maybe it was 91. I can't remember. It was around there, a little bit before this. But all I'm thinking about is this EP. Well, I guess it's an album. And then, you know, what else? what people had in their rotation and how this one would have just fit right in. You know, like if you loved Chronic by Dr. Dre, you could put this one on right after. Almost kind of got the same type of feel, you know. This is cool. Let's keep rolling.
Now follow me now, roll, stroll. I'm deep in the land, but creep if you can. Take another swig to the brain rolls. Loke instead of choking off that potent smoking. Run up on the popo now. Gotta get them up with my busters. Right turn to the double glut. Pull to the curse smoke with my hustlers. Puff up to the brain shot. Left POD it and tweeted. Gotta get another case for my trunk. Oh, English really don't need it. But in case my choose when I get drunk. That pump bone, so live on my lung. You know I'm to get shut down. Gotta give it down up to the Glock, Glock. Pop, pop, better drop in a buckshot. Blood up on them, ain't never no hustle. No creeping up out of the ziplock. So zen, sip, gin, and let them all her one. I'm not up and flipped in, and slipped in, they clipped in. They're sticking me blood, they back to remember the test nuts. To the chest and put them to rest, and but I won't test bucks. Put a hole up in them and best, and gotta get through my soul, but it won't good. Drug me victim, the blood in me running my mental. The thug and me stuck and me keeping it simple, the blood in me running me pencil.
The first thing that's jumping out at me is their vocal style, their flow. They kind of got like a you know, and it's not so much that the cadence is changing, the speed is changing, which I like. It's cool, but there's something with the way they're enunciating. It's almost like the first thing that comes to mind analogy. It's almost like a sense of braille. Like I can feel it. You know, there's like a texture to the vocal style. You can feel like these bumps in the words, and it's not bad. This is not a criticism. It's different. You know, it's just different, and it's always cool to me when I put on a new album and I think, oh, here's gonna be somebody, you know, with their flow, and it's gonna sound just like something else I've heard. No, there's always that different texture with each person. It's so cool. It's so cool how that always happens, because in my brain, we've heard it all, right? There's no way it can be different, but yeah, it's always a little different. Lyrically, it feels like the first thing I want to say is, oh, okay, there's not a whole lot to dig into, but I feel like there is more here than I realize. Maybe. I don't want to overthink it either. I feel like just listening to this track, this feels like it's just a cool, kind of a chill jam to put on with good vocal flow, right? That's my initial impression. And I want to look at lyrics more, but I feel like, I don't know. You know me as a hustler, trying to creep and get beat, maybe 6 feet. Peep, got to put them under. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's not as complex as I want it to be. Straight jackets, got to make that money. It's still the same now. Balling in my black trench vest. Yeah, okay. Come and get this teaching you shoulders how the soldiers. I think it's a mistake. Maybe drinking. Yeah, okay. Taking another swig to the brain, Rose. Checking off that poke and smoke. Running from the popo. Right turn to the double Glock. Pull to the curb. Smoke with my hustlers. Yeah. Okay, maybe it's not as complex. I think maybe just the delivery style. There's something different about it. And so my brain is pinging around and feeling like, oh, there's something else here. But more, it's, I think, just the style. Let's finish this one out. Let's see where it goes.
We got lazy and crazy. Busy's in the house. Witches in the house. And Flex and Tasha. Cleveland, definitely.
One thing I'm glad I waited, because with this outro here, you know, you got Shatasha talking about the different members, and I focusing on the 90s and all this other stuff, right? I forgot, even though I just said it 5 minutes ago, debut album. So really this is the first track off of the first album. And so I think the goal here with this track is, okay, everybody, every member, get in there, do your thing, so the listener gets a taste of who you are, what you sound like, what you stand for, represent, etc. So I think no real level of complexity there in terms of like lyrics, like I was thinking about, you know, something to dig into. No. This is just basically an introduction of the group to the listener. cool track. I mean, great sound. So because of that, I'm not going to really dig into this one. Let's move to track 4. You know, it's so funny because I praised the harmony on the little intros there. And then they moved away from it, and I was almost disappointed. But then, thankfully, because of the outro, the idea of, no, each member's got to have their section so everybody knows what we're dealing with. And then you can hopefully bring the harmony back in, which I'm assuming they're going to do. The next track is called No Surrender, produced by DJ Unique. Let's check this one out. And Thuggish Ruggish Bone has a heart from me. Absolutely. Cool track. I like that one.
Don't surrender.
Oh, my God.
Don't surrender.
My nigga just handle your business, so can I get a witness?
Oh, nice hit.
Started to kick this, gotta get my shit, and then you fucked up. They fucked their fine. Niggas ain't talking about them things. Thugs, wine, mine, hine, swine. With a good time, clang, come again now, they drop down. When I'm off the block, fuck them cops, me and crazy.
Crazy good flow.
Gotta get them up to the clock, clock.
Cool verse. Just pause right here before the transition to the next one. Who was that? That was fucking really good. Busy, okay. Can you hear what I'm talking about? With like, there's a little bit of texture in there. Like you can like just feel the cadence because he's changing his speed up. He's like rolling the words around a little bit, but then he comes in sharper. Lots of variation happening in that verse. Really cool. Very interesting to hear. I'm excited to be able to notice that. Makes me very happy. That was a great just delivery of the verse. And honestly, you know, again, like with the previous track, okay, there's not a whole lot in terms of lyric content to like dissect and read into. That's fine. I honestly don't give a fuck what he said. How he said it was superb. So I don't need anything else. You know, that was killer. Let's see how Lazy does.
No one in the cover to hit me a lick up, find me a victim to stick up, pick up, rolling an apple, slipping. That's why I'm tripping, bloody victim, get him when the time calls, dog. Take 211, better dugging on these niggas, wells involved. Fuck with the hoes and come to po-pos, nigga, done pit, they pick me, got the fleece and get my creep on. Putting me on my knees, telling me moving, I'm dead, cause I'm killing all y'all bitches, turning them blue suits red, and then I'm coming to that funeral to shoot that bitch up, because I know that's where your bitch is bound to meet up. Cop killers all over that chest line, I know what to do with that best mine. 22 shots I kill her, you don't wanna fuck with bone, nigga. And it really ain't shit to pull the trigger on a copper. Cause if I go down, some of y'all going down cause I'm going down pop under some motherfucker coppers. Let me catch you slipping, nigga, better pop ya. Pop, 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 pop.
Hey, that's me. I just want to, so the lyrics, right? Pop, 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 are annotated. Let's read the annotation. This should be interesting. These sound effects further get his point across of him being a violent individual. If you count, there are 22 shots on the track referencing the previous line, 22 shots to kill you. Yeah. Yeah. Which I think that's the spin off of a 21 gun salute for when somebody gets shot, for when somebody dies in service, right? Let's see if they actually nail that here. Cops may feel safe wearing a Kevlar vest, but Wish knows it can't hold up forever and will be penetrated after a large number of shots are fired into it. Even if the vest is not penetrated, gunshots can cause extreme bodily harm regardless of whether or not the victim is wearing a bulletproof vest. I think that's okay, that's fair, but I think really the 22 shots is more of a spin-off of a 21 gun salute for when you're burying somebody who dies in the line of duty. This verse, you know, put me on my knees, telling me move and I'm dead because I'm killing all you bitches, turning them blue suits red, and then I'm coming to that funeral to shoot that bitch up because I know that's where all you bitches are bound to meet up. I wonder why people were so offended by this music back in the 90s. Oh man. Huh. I don't, you know, it's hard to understand why the people were so worked up over it. All right.
You better believe it's judgment day. Some nigga just throw your pumps in the air. Now kill them. Couple like you just don't care. And dig 'em, creepin', peepin'.
Yo, good production too, man.
Gotta make it till I'm reaching, gotta get mine every time. Doesn't be over in 9-9. Some nigga get up as a crime. Gotta be more coppers dying in the line. I'm fucking with thugs. When I just pick up my drugs, fucking to me and my nigga. When
This is, oh my god, this is like a fucking flashback right here. Not that I've heard this track before, but just that kind of sound effect. I remember this shit. It was so cool. Oh my god, they changed their voice like that. That's cool too. I like that track. I like that one quite a bit. Now we're basically halfway through. Well, we're not halfway through. We got 4 tracks out of basically 6. I'm surprised no harmony yet. I'm very surprised because I thought that was more of their strong suit, and I'm very happy to be proven wrong. Their rapping skill is superb, in my opinion. Very good, very very good. And but it's just kind of funny because, like I was saying before, back in the 90s when I was in high school and the Crossroads come, I always thought they were just like a boy band. Because boy bands were all the fucking rage back then. I don't remember their names anymore, but it was awful. Oh my God. Oh my God, you guys. You don't understand. Like, as somebody, when I was a teenager and discovering metal and starting to get into metal, and then I have to ride the bus and listen to fucking TLC and the Crossroads and all these boy bands, and oh my God, it was the worst. It was just the worst, man. But we don't have to relive past trauma. It's okay. It's okay. We're gonna move on to track 5, which is called "Down for My Thang," produced by Rhythm D. That's a cool name right there. Let's check this one out. "Down for My Thang," track 5. That sound, man. God, it's just like that iconic West Coast. Although they're from Cleveland, but I always think of West Coast when I hear that sound.
Creeping up out of the woods, gotta get lit in my hood. Smoking a joke and a creep on a come up. Niggas be trying to run up, but a bus and a drop to the death, not a gun up, hunt my blunt up, creeping the sun up, feeling slightly shaded. Call me lightweight crazy, number one nigga, little lazy. Niggas don't want to fight, running with deadly dust, the soldiers dropping the blanks, bone the toasters, just the nuts, so a nigga don't have to show you. Better be packing your weapon, cause my shit is kept and I'm ready to let loose all the
Good flow right there. Good flow throughout, man. Again, just fucking crushing it. God, this is great. This is fucking fantastic.
Say may that red nigga. The rest up put them in rivers, it don't stop. Drop P's to them SCTs and double pop. Is this look from them 12 gauge stub? Get them on the buck with, no buck with. Respecting them busters, blood nipping in them none can hurt me. Murder rush on no mercy. Turn your back, clack back, make it digging them in the dirt.
I'll back it up, but I don't really have anything to say about the lyrics because it's basically just gangster rap. You know, there's not a whole lot of depth here in terms of lyrical content, but it's fine. The fucking delivery is unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I'm trying to remember when 36 Chambers came out. This came out in 94. Fuck, I feel like 36 Chambers came out in 94. Like in September or something. That's crazy. No wonder this is kind of considered, I guess this is considered like the golden era, right, of hip hop. Because holy shit, man. I mean, the vocal delivery is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Really good. And I love how, who is this again? I'm not going to be able to keep anybody straight. Busy. You can hear him speeding up and slowing down, and he just putting, I like it's almost like a machine gun style on the enunciation. Just, you know, it's just fucking awesome. It's really cool. It sounds phenomenal. Huh. Let me back up a little bit. This is very enjoyable. I know I don't have much to say about the lyrics. I'm hoping everybody's fine with that. I hope everybody's enjoying the fact that I'm enjoying just the delivery because fuck, it's really, really good. And there's a great blend between the structure of the beat and that kind of shit.
Bang, bang, gotta get up on my thing and I claim and hang with cheese. Niggas that make cheese for the green leagues, gotta get peace cause they swing knees. Come, nigga, beat my hood and for nothing but thugs and hustlers. Seeing never been no buster and stuff that buck I'm in dump on bitch, nigga, motherfucker.
And that sound comes in. This is great.
So the bubble don't get your nigga, can't be arrested. 1 in 11, but send the niggas to hell and you're felon. 187, 11, drilling, better from the selling. Niggas the bigger the most burn. The quicker you get to the curb, put one to the tempo. Bump to Mr. Policeman, that's all you heard. Bang, bang, gotta get down with my time.
I like the chorus too. I like what they're doing with that sound at the end here. You know, I was thinking about, okay, who's doing a better job? Bone Thugs or Wu-Tang? And I was leaning more towards Wu-Tang. And then I was like, that brings the question, well, why? Because what these guys are doing is really good. But I think if there was going to be any kind of criticism I would levy is that their style across the 5 of them is pretty similar. You know, they exist within a certain, I don't know, area. Where I feel like Wu-Tang, the members have just enough variety across them, so there's a little bit more range in terms of the lyrical delivery. Now that doesn't mean this is bad. I'm just saying in terms of variety, I feel like Wu-Tang's got a little bit more range. Plus, so far, something else I'm noticing is I feel like with Bone Thugs, you know, each guy's coming in with their verse and they're just crushing it. They're doing a phenomenal job. But it does feel like so far, it does feel like 5 individuals, whereas Wu-Tang, they do manage to get this. It's the group. It's the who. It's the Killer Bees. It's it's this whole. I feel like there's a bigger presence because of all of them, right? So that's just what's going through my mind. That's not a criticism to Bone Thugs and Harmony or this EP or this album or anything like that. It's just what's passing through my brain. That was Down For My Thang. That was fucking great too. That one's got a heart. Next track is called Creepin on a Come Up, which is the title track for the album. I kind of like the cover too, although there's not a lot to say about the cover. It's funny how it says featuring Eazy-E, right? God, what a throwback. Just looking at this shit. The style. I forgot about the style. Man. All right. Track 6 is called Creepin on a Come Up, produced by DJ Unique. Here we go.
Right about now, Thugs and Harmony is on a come up. So to all you busters out there, beware.
There we go. Bit of a mellow jam.
Woke up this morning with the thought of robbing a bank to get rich. Ain't they in days, so it ain't no thing. They click, click, bitch, give me your shit. Fresh out the pen and I blow on this. But calm, I try to stay thug. Got flow with skills, but nigga, the bitches now just can't buy my bud. With my steel, got the 44 mag, what's a sack and a snag. My leather rack can't reveal. When I glide with the money back, right to the hack out my flag. I gotta get mine, and if you stole, then I gonna just work your job, get paid. I'll rob you, see a nigga creep on the cover.
I really like this line. Just work your job, get paid. I'll rob you. Just work your job. You work at the bank. Just work. Just don't worry about it. You're gonna get paid. Let me rob you. Everything's gonna be fine.
I'm feeling at the back and the nigga coming up on these dimes. Got a couple hairy balls and some rings and some ropes. Still thinking how them diamonds would shine. Went to the cash register, broke the bitch up and grabbed all the money they had. And the nigga getting gone, going to the bone. Yeah, got to let my niggas check out my bag. And I gotta wait smooth cause I had the shit planned. And ain't no bullshit get broke. That's what I gotta do if I wanna get paid. Cause a nigga be creeping on the come up.
Stalking cat food, walking check food, stalking cat food, walking check food, stalking cat food, walking check food, stalking cat food, walking check food.
Yeah, I was just thinking about these two stories. You know, the one guy's robbing the bank, the other guy's robbing a jewelry store, and how different it was almost 30 years ago, everyone. That's right. Almost 30 years ago. It's 22. This was 94. Anyway, and you know how much technology has changed and how much harder it is to do something like rob a jewelry store, right? And not get caught, really. I mean, the act is the same. Not getting caught is obviously much more difficult with cameras and with phones and all this kind of facial recognition, and I mean, God knows. And then I started thinking back, to like, okay, what was it like in the 1800s when there was nothing? You slipped your bandana up over your face and you robbed the bank, and it's just, I don't know. I only pause it to say my brain was kind of considering how much things change and what's going to happen in the future as technology constantly encroaches on privacy and the ability to do anything without it being permanently recorded. Because I think there's a lot of danger in that. There's obviously some benefits to it in terms of like crime and hopefully preventing people from attempting stuff like this or catching them if they do it. But then you look at some of the stuff on social media and how people react to what someone said 7 years ago and how that can be used as a weapon against them. It's very strange. Very strange. Anyway, that's what I'm thinking about at 6:11 on Saturday morning.
Down in Jamaican splits, little nigga rips to on this lick and bang bang. Big enough to click of my brain on another victim insane. Feeling murderous, nervous, 12 shot pumping. I got a bigger gat to back me. Filling in my smug thug, hooded, black skudded, black cat kids. Creeping in my steel toe reaping. Peeking to the window, let me cock this. Nigga must have been meant to be jacked, cause it comes me hostage. Jump out of the door with a pump to a tempo. Should have seen a tremble. Pushing the alarms and I dropped them bombs on moms. It's just that simple. Cause I done made it clean as fuck. And I fleeced the scene with a buck. Cause a nigga be creeping on the come.
Stalking cat food, walking jack food. 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 Stalking cat food.
I was laughing at the end here because I was just thinking about the lyrics and how fucking wildly offensive people are, because of them, how offended people are. And then I just started thinking about Grand Theft Auto, the original Grand Theft Auto, which was around this time. It wasn't quite 94. Actually, it was later. It was later 90s, the original Grand Theft Auto. And I remember the outrage around that game, and it was ridiculous. Like, the game itself was just this top-down view. If you ever get a chance, Google the original Grand Theft Auto and look it up and see what it looks like. It was a top-down view, and you just got in a car and you drove around, and you could run people over, obviously, and it would leave like a little blood smear, and you could shoot people, but it was just like the graphics were so cheesy. It was just like a little dot that was shooting somebody else. And of course the cops would come and you could shoot the cops and all this other shit. And so I remember playing that game and thinking, well, this is fun. It's just stupid, harmless fun, right? Just running people over with your car. And I remember the outrage around that game. And I also remember the outrage with some of these songs and some of the music at the time. Fucking, obviously NWA getting a lot of heat, even from the FBI and shit like that. But anyway, all of that culminating to the misunderstanding that people have when it comes to enjoying something like this. Because I think even for myself a year ago, if I would have listened to this album a year ago, I would have had a harder time with it because I basically leaned on lyrics as a crutch, just because that's the one thing I am decent at when it comes to exploring new music. And so I was so worried about, well, what if I don't like it? Well, okay, well, at least I can analyze the lyrics and go on that. But people don't realize sometimes this shit is just, it's equal parts of them kind of describing the environment they're in and fucking around and just writing some shit that'll, come off as hard and it doesn't really necessarily mean anything. And it's kind of like the analogy would be, if you have a journal, right? And you write a journal and you write all this crazy shit in your journal because you're just frustrated and you're annoyed or whatever. And so you just write out this stupid fictional story of maybe some weird daydream of, you fucking beat some guy up or who knows what, right? Something that people might find disturbing. And then somebody reads it and they go, oh my God, this person is this and that. And it's like, no, No. And earlier I was talking about social media a little bit and what people say and how that comes back to get them. I mean, we as creatures have a need to express ourselves. And this is a problem I have with this idea of the permanence of speech and it being like public record and recorded forever and it can be used against you, because there's so many times when people say things, they don't fucking mean anything. I remember a couple weeks ago, me and a buddy at work were talking about traffic. Traffic's getting really bad where we are. And the city's done nothing about it. And he was like, fuck those guys, the people who are in charge, right? I hope they all fucking, die in a car fire or some shit like that. Does he mean that? No, he doesn't mean that. He doesn't want them to die via burning alive in a vehicle. He doesn't want that to happen. He doesn't wish that on anybody, right? But if you were to do something like tweet that, your life is over. I mean, if somebody wanted it to be, right? They could use that. It's ridiculous. And then there was a thing, Louis C.K. was on Rogan recently. I saw the clip. I just watched it. And he was talking about the same thing, how there's so many things that we say and do kind of in passing to just get this shit out, right? And now all of a sudden there's this permanence to it. And that's not how it's supposed to be. And so I just take that concept. And I agree with that completely. There's so many things that I've said in my life that don't mean anything. There's things I've posted online that don't fucking mean anything. And I kind of put that into something like this, right? Where I picture people being offended by this song and upset by what they're talking about and how it's a bad influence on kids and blah, 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 blah. And it's just, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. I remember Marilyn Manson getting shit on all the time back in the 90s too. That was a big deal. God, it's funny to put on stuff from the 90s and just get pulled back down memory lane. Huh. Okay, long rant there. No real point to it other than just expressing, right? There you go. This track is track 7, For the Love of Money. I had to look this up earlier. I was like, Jewel? Not the same Jewel. Different Jewel. Not the Jewel I was thinking of. This one's got a lot of listens too. This is 48 million. So I'm wondering, maybe I've heard this before. I don't know. But it's featuring Eazy-E. It's produced by DJ Yella and Eazy-E. So let's check this one out. Track 7, For the Love of Money.
For the love of money.
Ooh, this sounds familiar. This sounds familiar.
Gotta get on the grind, pop the clip in my 9, and bitch, you can slip, you can chalk it, fall in the night time, gotta get mine. Ain't taking the shirts of the lost inside of the phone. Call up my niggas in at home, polishing the Mac 10 chrome. Got a dick we can hit, so bring your shit, cause once again it's home. To the zone with a flip of bird, my wig to the curb, so I swerve and roll out. To pick up the 666 thug and plot out the murder for robbing the dope house. Smoke up out the bay bomb so high, not coming to slay with 4 grenades and a gauge. I'ma play with till I'm up all in the grave and light.
Won't sleep till I'm done up. Gotta blaze me blunt up. Hunt up another pot and skin. Gotta make some green cause I'll just nut up. What up? Gotta get that business on. Even though the boo to run this done me feeling lovely. But I'm just in it for the love of the money. Gotta make that money, man. Money, man.
I love having Jules' vocals in the back there. And this is cool, this little harmony. I think I had heard this before, but it's probably been 20-something years, right? Back in the 90s. It's not super familiar. The Jules line, for the love of money, that, and then the gotta get that money, man, that is vaguely familiar. So I probably have heard this before, back when it was being played on the radio.
Standing on the corner, straight slanging rocks. Oh shit, here comes a motherfucking cop. So I dash, I ducks and I hide behind a tree, making sure the motherfuckers don't see me. Now my fat sack of rocks, hell yeah, I stuffed them. Police on my drawers, I had to pause and yeah, it's still motherfucker. Now my game is tight as fuck. It's my game, easy motherfucking E or Eric Wright, it's all the same. Now niggas might trip on how I stacks my grip. I got to have it, bitch. For the love of this shit, motherfucker. Been filling with bullets and devilment rivers. Remember me, killer now. From under me dig, you'll see with you, cause bitch you was slipping. I'll get you and rip ya, then buck ya down. Steady rubbing and stealing, making a killing. Nigga drug dealing, needing $1 million. Hustling drugs where the thugs be chilling. For the money these niggas be selling. Off in the gut where you find a nigga thugging. Off in the braids and skullers. And when I stick you and lick you, remember I get them up for the love and more.
It's almost over. I'll let it finish.
Bound in the motherfucking house for the 9 quarts, nigga. Yeah. Rolling with ruthless in this bitch. My nigga lazy bone. Busy bone, wishbone, and flesh and bone. And I'm that nigga crazy bone. In the motherfucking hell.
Yeah, I was sitting there listening to the track, and I was not listening to the lyrics at all in terms of what they were saying. And I think really, if I have any criticism about the album, it's really that every track is pretty much about the same thing. Okay, whatever. But what was neat was I was listening to the vocal style so much. I was almost having like a trap situation where you kind of soak into the production and the style and the sound, right? That's what was happening to me in this track lyrically. Like I'm settled into how they rap, and I'm used to it, and I enjoy it so much so that it's becoming part of the music. Like I don't even care what they're saying at all. I don't care what they're saying. It doesn't matter. And it's not to say that I have a problem with the lyrics or anything like that, but more so it's just their style and delivery is so good that I'm just listening to this basically vocal performance. And there are tracks where there are no lyrics. It's just vocals that are incredible. There's a couple tracks that come to mind. Great Gig in the Sky, Pink Floyd is the fucking big one, the obvious one. There's another one called Abaddon, something like that. It's Lustmord, but it's Maynard from Tool singing, and he's just singing. There's no lyrics, there's no words. It's just him singing in this really kind of echoey, creepy way to this really dark, ambient track. Fucking cool, man. And it's just neat how vocals can become their own thing. And whether it's a girl screaming about dying without using words, or Maynard, or these dudes, it's pretty fucking neat. And I mean, obviously they're using words, but what I'm saying is, in my mind, it's already shifted out of that. All right, the last track is called Moe Cheese. This one does not have a lot of listens, which is surprising. Featuring Jewel, produced by DJ Unique. Let's drop in track 8, Moe Cheese.
For the love of money.
Oh, it looks like it's just a continuation of the previous track, which is kind of cool. I like the guitar a lot. A lot. How cool how just putting a different instrument in changes the song completely. I got some piano dropping in. Giving the guitar some business.
Come on, baby. What people will do for the love of money. You're just a sinner for the love of money.
Nice, nice. Huh. You know, it's too bad that they have the girl moaning sounds in there, because I feel like if you would take that out, more people listen to this track, and it would be this great conclusion to the album. Because I think it's great. Anyway, I like that enough to not care about some of the sounds, right? But I can see why that, you know, people go, whatever. And then two, it is just a continuation of the end of the previous track. But fuck, that was great with the guitar, and then a little bit of piano, then electric guitar comes in, and then back to the Spanish guitar. I mean, that's fucking cool, man. Really cool. Huh. Well, holy shit. I guess that's it. I was definitely expecting more harmony, but it's not a surprise given that this is their debut album. What a fucking debut album. That's extremely strong for a debut album. Especially, too, I mean, when you really break it down, with the last track being basically an instrumental and the first two being these short little things, this is only a 5-album track. Or 5-track album, I should say. And it's fucking really good. I put hearts next to every song. Really enjoyed that. Again, like I was saying before, lyrical content, okay, you know, that's one thing I would say is a point of critique for me, is that basically every song is about the same thing, so it kind of doesn't matter. I feel like you're listening to this because of the laid back production, which the production was all really good, pretty chill, but good structure, good beats. And then the fucking rapping style is incredible. It really is very, very good. And it's funny to me, I'm kind of laughing a little just because I know The Crossroads blew up. Huge, huge song, right? And so it's funny that I'm assuming maybe that was a bit of an accident or a bit of an experiment. That maybe they didn't expect that to do as well as it did. Because if that was the goal to begin with, then I would have expected more harmony in this debut album. But, you know, one thing too about stuff like this is maybe the idea was, okay, you know, these guys are good. Let's sign them. Let's put out this shorter project, see how it does, and we'll go from there. And maybe there was an idea of, hey, you know, we want to harmonize. And it's like, well, okay, let's just stick to what we know works right now in the musical sphere. You know, what's popular, what's successful. Let's stick with that. Let's kind of get you guys established. And then on the next one, if this one does well, on the next one, we'll do a little bit more in terms of exploring your ability to harmonize with each other and sing and stuff like that. But it is a tease with that intro and Mr. Ouija where they're harmonizing. And it sounds fucking phenomenal. Really good. They tease that, and then they don't really use it during the rest of the album. So that was surprising to me that did not happen, that harmony. I mean, it's in their name. Where did it go, you know? That was really enjoyable. I really liked that. I'm surprised. I didn't know what to expect coming into this one. I don't know. For some reason, I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did. Although I don't know why. You guys are really good at suggesting very good albums. There hasn't really been any album. Well, there's been a couple albums where I'm like, okay, you know, not quite my thing. But for the most part, they've all been phenomenal. This was really good. Really good. Enjoyed that quite a bit. I guess that's it. Yeah. Fuck, man, that was cool. And it's nice and short, too. Like, I feel like an EP, or I keep wanting to call it an EP. Technically, it's an album. Something that's cool about this is you could just throw it on, listen to those 5 tracks, good to go, you know? You only needed, 20 minutes, 30 minutes? Not even, 20 minutes or so. And you can listen to this. Fucking sweet, man. So if you want to listen to it on your lunch break or something, just pop it on, get some cool tracks in your head, and then go back to work. Nice. Yeah. All right. That was fun. I like that one. All right. We'll see you guys.